Hello, how you doing? This is going to be another long video. It's in response to KawaiiGardiner, and I have notes which I'm going to kind of read through, and I'll try to go fast so if stuff doesn't make sense, write it down and tell me, because I'm not, even though I'm going to do a long video, I don't really want to, kind of thing, but it turned into that. Now I watched your video literally just about a week ago now, so some of the stuff I've kind of forgotten, and some of the notes that I've written are like a bit so just got to figure out what I'm actually saying here in relation to what I was actually meaning. So let's just have a go. You must have mentioned something about popularity rules. Yes, it does. However, we need to be able to measure things. Logic and measurement is what actually creates a society that we can actually live for in the future. And people need to get away from the popularity thing and actually understand the science that's behind something that can be measured, because if you've got a measurement, then you actually have a fact, and without a fact, you just got an opinion. And as you know, opinions don't really count. Society, let me see. I've got down here that society is sick at the moment, and it's failing and it's wrong. And you can take that in any different form of any kind of thing, and that's one reason why I believe in the Zeitgeist movement, because it's using a scientific approach to actually measure things and be able to come out with a technical aspect to correct situations, and it's not based on opinion or not based on opinion, but it's based on a fact. So you know, society is sick and wrong, and that's why I support it, because it's another way to look at things there. You must have gone on about some thing about individuals and so forth, and I just got down here that people that want to change the world don't actually, truly want to change the world, don't actually do it for recognition. And going into the politics of things, a lot of politicians, even though their intentions might be right, a lot of them don't have that scientific background in politics. Even though I'm interested in politics because that's the form we're in at the moment, doesn't mean it's the form we should be in, though. We know as a society and as an educated people that understand mechanisms and processes, and that understand that you can always be better, we're still keeping with something, the old side of things, and I think that's what, when it comes down to it, when I was talking about you criticizing the West, you criticized the superficial side of things, and it's not necessarily the West, and you should understand this because of your, and I need to just stop there first. Anything that I say, I'm not personally attacking you. It's just, if it comes across as that, I'm not at all. But you talk about the superficial things, the pop culture and so forth like that, and that's where the popularity come in. I actually missed one of my notes, which doesn't help. But what I want to know is, do you question? And this is something that I've got from the Zeitgeist, and I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't seen that movie and then followed through and looked at all these other aspects of it. But do you question the society we live in at the moment? Not just the superficial pop culture, TV, and things like that. I'm talking about the politics, the systems that we are in. And you being within a philosophy background, I presume that you have that education that will actually provide you that means to be able to question the society that we're in. Not just recreate in a different form of society, but literally step outside of it and look at it from the outside, look at it from the balcony, and see what is wrong and what we could actually do. Like, if we had another planet, how would we start off fresh instead of using what we already have, which is the political system at the moment. I feel like I'm all over the place, so hopefully you understand what I'm saying. What else? And yeah, the politicians are mainly there for self-interest. It's a power thing. People like their power, or to feel important. However, people that are actually there that want to change the world properly will do it. I'll find a note. I'm going to jump ahead, which I just read through before, if I can find it. No, can't find it. My system's probably not as good as your system. You went on about sports being a superficial thing, and I totally understand where you're coming from there. And my background is sport. I lived and breathed sport, and I still want to have a sports-related kind of organisation that I want to help create or flourish, found, and totally understand where you're coming from with regards to sport. Idolising people that shouldn't really be idolised and paying them a lot of money that doesn't seem warranted. The whole ethos of sport has totally gone out the door, and that's the one reason of what the Olympic movement was about. Actually, to start with, it was actually about the militarization. It was about having young people so they were fit, ready for battle at the fundamental level, and then on top of that, it's just gone on to something else. Now it's just a big propagandal mess, and people want to be there because it makes them rich and famous. But then that's what they did back in ancient Greek times, rich and famous. So I've just got here, I mentioned it just before. I just say, who cares about positions? You must talk about the positions of people. And the thing is, and then facts are facts, and why do we need opinions? So we've got opinions here. Someone's got one opinion. That's the thing about politics. You've got the left and the right, and they have different opinions. But the thing is, if you've got facts, the fact says, this is how it is, let's do this. The thing is, if you've got an opinion saying, well, I think it's this, and I think it's this, well, one of them's going to be right. Or they're both going to be wrong. So that's the problem with politics, is that people care about opinions. But no, opinions don't really matter. It's the facts in the end. And you can use that through scientific process. And that's the thing. Like, I'm now teaching, like we've always taught when we were kids, your opinion counts. I'm now telling kids in my classes, and that's the beauty about being a relief teacher. I can tell them anything, which is horrible. You can say that's a horrible thing for the fact that I can tell them anything, but I go through it as I like to think I actually am knowledgeable enough to actually say, hey, these are things. Thing is, when it comes down to it, I tell them, your opinion doesn't count. The facts count. So you need to know how to find the facts. Not know the facts, but how to find the facts. In the end, your opinion doesn't matter. And I'm telling the children that now. It's otherwise you got all this generation coming through thinking that, yay, I am allowed to say what I'm allowed to say. No, you are allowed to say what you say, but at least get it right. Don't go around there thinking that you're right because this is what I think. It's like, too bad. No, you're wrong. Find the facts. That's half the problem with our society in that sense. Must go into going into the economic side of things. First off, before I go into what I've written here, I'll put a link down. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it was part of the Zeitgeist Radio. It had Peter Josephs, and I cannot now remember who he was interviewing, but it was a guy involved in economics. And while I was listening to it, it is a podcast. It's an hour and a half long, and it covered everything that I was thinking that my standpoint. I learned more from it as well, but from my standpoint of what I think economics is, and because he's going on about the academic side of things and how it's corrupt and so forth, and actually goes into much more better detail. So I'm going to put the link there, and hopefully you get a chance to listen to that at some point. And I'd love to hear your views on that. So I'll just go over what my notes are now, though. I've got here that we're encouraged to be in debt. We don't live within our means. And I agree with you about social responsibility. Self-responsibility. Now, the thing is, I kind of ranted on about it, which you replied to and I never got back to you about. And you said that, Greece ended up spending money and that's why they're in that position. Yeah, fair enough. And you could probably actually go back, and half the reason why they don't have the money would be going back to the Olympics when they held it in 2004. That's probably half the reason why they lost all that money, because they wanted it based on historical precedents. And yeah, they've gone downhill from there. However, in saying that the issue is and you probably agree with this, so I'm just going to say, but if they've been bailed out again, because they've been bailed out second time, eventually they are going to be needing bailout again. So why are we not just letting it collapse? We need to let the, too big to fail is ruining what we have now, which is, I'm for that now after what I've learned. But also something else that I learned just recently from the podcast was, if people are not ready for it, there will be that chaos. And here's me before, so I'm going to apologise for what I said. Here's me before ranting on about wanting it to end and people will just learn from it. Actually, they won't just learn from it. They won't have that critical thinking. However, the basic knowledge and understanding that there is other options out there is needed to be promoted before the collapse happens, and there will be a collapse. It's going to happen. I have no idea when, but it's going to happen. So people are needing to be aware that there are other options. But the thing is, having that education there it's hard because you got so much other propaganda getting in the way. I do understand. I got here. I don't know why, but I do understand my economics. Just so my background, so you know me. I had a sports degree, a postgraduate business diploma, and a graduate of education, or postgraduate education. So I'm an overeducated fool when it comes down to it. And economics-wise, I did economics in the sports degree, and then I did economics as part of my business degree. So totally understand it. And back then, I took it as face value. This is how economics is. But that's the thing. That's what again, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, hey, you read it from a book and you take it as it is. And I know you mentioned this once before. You like listening to other people's opinions because it helps you question. So where do you stand in regards to you have a rhetoric where you just keep flowing out what you understand from the economics, which is brilliant. You understand your facts. However, they are facts within the textbook structure within the system that we have. Yet you do know that you know the system is failing, and when it comes down to it, capitalism is on its decline down. You'll have some economists saying, no, it's not. We're just in a recession, blah blah blah. No, the whole thing is collapsing. The whole thing is based on the debt structure, and it's once you have a debt which has interest, the interest is made out of nothing, and there's not enough actual physical capital in the world to actually pay back the interest. So eventually, we've got a whole world on debt, completely in debt, which it can never be paid back. It's as simple as that. And then we've got people, the bailouts that are happening in Greece are happening, and we're expecting them to pay back. But the thing is, the money that they're giving them is only going back to pay back the interest. If that, it's not actually, the money doesn't actually help anyone. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just paying back loans that have already been made from the loans that were already given. So the thing's going to collapse because of that. So in the end, we're just keeping a system because that's the system we're in, and that's why people need to question the system we are in. We need to question, why are we in the system of capitalism, monetarism, and step out from it and then look for the other things. And that's why, again, Zeitgeist to me covers those issues, where you're stepping away from it and going, hey, I can reinvent the wheel here. And in this case, the wheel needs to be reinvented. The wheel's crooked and going all over the place, and eventually it's just tires coming off, okay? And that's why we need to redo it, Patchwork doesn't work. Doesn't work. Patchwork just is halting things even more. Okay, I've kind of covered all that. Sort of. Okay, I covered that too. Covered that too. Covered that too. Well, last thing here, the system that we're in, the capitalistic system has winners and losers, and at the moment Greece is the loser and China is probably the big winner at the moment. And the system works that it goes up and down. You're going to have winners and losers, and that's the sad thing, because it's based on the scarcity, and money is part of that. Excuse me, part of that scarcity system, which creates us up and down. But why do we need? This is the thing. Economy is about balance. Yet, because we've thrown scarcity in there, and you want to throw in the whole thing of John Locke and Adams, or whatever his name was, forgotten his name. About property and taxes, and it goes way back to the basic economics theories and so forth. It was all about having people in the higher class against lower class and so forth. The thing is, real economy is about having a balance. And when it comes to humans, our balance is the fact that all we need is food and water, shelter, love, and we've got everything we need. Technology then provides us with all the other aspects that provide us with possibilities. Individuals create things, like the true individuals that want to make something happen through innovation do it because they are inquisitive and they want to create something. They want to see what's better than what was already better, and that's where science and innovation comes from, or goes forward through that. And that keeps a balance, because once you've actually innovated that, you then make it free. And that's a lot of people have done that in the past. However, the money system gets involved, and then people get involved with the profit structure, and the profit structure usually means that one person, and this is true, I used to be this. I used to want to be that big multi-millionaire. I was even in the paper down in Invercargill once saying that I would be a millionaire by a certain age. Didn't happen, of course. But I had a structure that was based on the fact that I wanted to make money. Now I see it totally different, for the fact that money is just a means for us to actually live. The thing is, if everything was provided for us through the shared capacity, and that's the thing, some people go, oh, you're the communist. No, it's just a human desire to help each other out. You don't need to put an ism at the end of it. And if people were actually in that frame of mind, and everyone was able to look after each other, you wouldn't have the issues there. And that's where the resource-based economy comes from. And part of the issues with it is that the capitalistic approach is all about manufacturing and creating, and there's technological unemployment involved, and so we don't have this. This is going in a different subject altogether, and so we don't have the workers won't be needed as much because of that. And then you have I'm going to go totally off trop here. There's something else that I can go into some other time. But yeah, overall, capitalism's on its way down. Go check out that podcast. I'll have a link down below. Anyone else that's watching this, donate to the bed. I know it's a monetary system, but sadly that's what we live in at the moment. Even though I am not for it anymore, we still have to live within it. And even my ideas that I want to create and do, I've actually, I was all for it right at the very beginning of the year. My business concept was in my head, and thing is, now I've reevaluated what I wanted to do again, because I don't want to be part of the system. I want to be changing the system through an education process within the system, which some say, hey, you can't work within a system that you can't change something within the system, which is probably true, but I can at least do my part from an outside of the system, if that makes sense. Anyway, that's something that will happen eventually. Oh yeah, got one thing here. You mentioned about utopia. There is no such thing as utopia. You are right. And that's one thing that the Zeitgeist thing puts across, is that you can create something, but the thing is, there can always something be better. Utopia is a stagnant place. Innovation is always going to be ongoing, and technology is always going to be ongoing. So yeah. Alright, probably an awful video there. I was all over the place. It was this guy's fault, wasn't it, Diddy? Yeah? It was you? What are you doing? Alright, remember Building 7. And yeah, have a good day. See you.